What's going on, everybody? Been a little while. I've kind of been slacking on this thing, but once again, this is the Going Over Pro Wrestling Show. My name is LaRon Graham, and I have yet another Lucha Underground review for you guys. And since it's been a little while, I think I'm going to go recap the past 2 weeks as opposed to this previous one. But first of all, as always, we've got to give a word to our sponsors. My sponsor today is my vision board, because I care about life and I want to go places, and I'm kind of a hippie in that way, visualizing what I want. So, writer's room, done. Cesaro body, or comparable, done. Money, gotta have that. Chris Rock, me and my beba, making that sweet love in the fireplace, done. Blue belt in jiu-jitsu, very important. I love jiu-jitsu, don't go as much as I want to, but when I do it, my mind's in a better place, body's in a better place, and I love it. But enough of that. Let's get back into Lucha. And that one, they had the 6 to Survive match where the guy, not the guy because it's not Roman, but the guy that everyone is in love with right now, Pentagon Jr., man, he pulled it out. So we got our main event, though. We got Pentagon Jr. versus the monster Matanza Cueto. And they've been building this basically since almost last season with Pentagon Jr.'s rise. And it's going to be interesting because he's went through a lot. He's gone through a lot this season. Got his back broken, basically. He just got out of like a hover round thing where Vampiro was like his Sith Lord whispering in his ear. So one thing I've noticed is they've kind of gone away from the Vampiro storyline. A little bit, they've touched on it, but just like the end of Ultima Lucha, the first one, Uno, I guess we would call it, I really think Vampiro is going to have a huge role in whatever happens with him. And I'm excited about it, man. I like Pentagon Jr. a lot because, to me, he's the epitome of keep it simple. What's gotten him over so much is Cero Miedo. It's catchy. It means zero fear. And you can just tell he lives by that, man. He doesn't have to have his thing be, I'm going to get you, brother. I'm going to beat you up. It's just, hey, no fear. Whatever happens, cero miedo. I'd actually compare Pentagon to Tupac, of all people, because Tupac, it was thug life, death row. No matter what he was going through, he shouted it out from the rooftops. And you were gonna respect him. You were going to listen to him. But at the same time, Pac had a lot of mouth on him. He put himself in a lot of bad situations. And even in the belly of the beast, whether he was in jail, shootouts, whatever, hey, it was still thug life. The hate you gave little infants, fuck everyone. So he had like an ethic to it. It wasn't just, hey, I'm a thug, guys. It was like, yo, this is what I live by, and this is what I'm going to be. So Pentagon Jr., cero miedo. Oh, you got to go against 3 people. Cero miedo. Oh, I have this monster in the back that's already legitimately killed some people, and I'm this evil emperor running the temple. Hey, you got beef with us now. Hey, cero miedo. Just like with Tupac, though, that can get you in some trouble. So, but it really, to me, this taught me a lot about just the Mexican style of wrestling, because a lot of the guys wear masks. So you would think that would limit the guys, but the more I watch, I'm like, oh, no, that's a strength. Because in America, you're basically like, I'm a guy, you're a guy, we have our characters, but by just having the mask, it's like you embody your character. You can't see their face. That means they have to use it in their body language and just basically how they exemplify the character. Like Phoenix, he's like symbolic of the mythological Phoenix bird, It's dealing with the resurrection. And he's been in wars with Mil Muertes, left laying bloody, but every time he comes back, he's kind of like a different character, different outfit, still young, cocky dude, but he's flying high. You have King Cuerno, he's the hunter. So he has a mask. He's not really going to be like, hey, guys, I'm hunting you today, and I'm going to strike you down. It's like, no. His moves, he stalks his guy. He sneaks up behind you, He doesn't do anything straightforward. It's stealthy. He finds his advantage. He exploits it. So these guys have to live their character and be their character in all their mannerisms. And I think that goes a lot deeper than just saying, I'm the plumber, or I'm the guy that's good to kids, or I'm the assassin guy. It's just, they really put a lot into it. And I think Pentagon Jr. really does. Like, I wake up in the morning sometimes, ton of work to do, but I'm like, yo, man, Cero miedo. I still got to do it. I don't want to, but hey, cero miedo. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I want to see him win the belt really bad. I love organic movements, no matter who the character is, and he's captured it. Give him the belt or give him a run in the main event. I can't wait. So that's how Ultima Lucha Dos is setting up as far as the main event goes. This previous week's episode, we deal with the Aztec medallions, which, of course, as you know, 7 of them make up the Gift of the Gods title. And so basically kind of a last-minute run at Ultima Lucha Dos, they had a bunch of matches in a row to get people these medallions. And actually the first guy was just given it, Nightclaw. Don't know anything about him, and I try not to look guys up because with Lucha, you find someone's Wikipedia page and it says it's giving spoilers 5 weeks in advance, so I don't know anything about him, don't want to. I just want to see it, let him play out how he plays out. But his character, like, he looks dope. He looks like Black Panther or Beast or something like that. You know, they really go for a mythological comic book vibe, so just seeing him sit at the table with that deep voice, like, I'm interested. And he must be legit to just be gifted a medallion like that. So that's one guy. The first match we had Daga against Mascarita Sagrada. And I haven't talked about him yet, but Famous B, 423, get fame. He's one of my favorite dudes because, he's the manager he was the manager, I'll touch on that. But he was Mascarita's manager. So, but his shtick was basically kind of every ashy, failed pimp you've ever seen in any movie. Like, he has the suits, he has the girl, he has the jewelry, but his business is not correct. And he will sideswipe you and give you shady deals if you let him. But the vignettes, man, in Lucha, it reminded me of like some Famous B's vignettes, like something out of Grand Theft Auto or Better Call Saul. It was just gritty and artful and like, yo, man, I like this guy. Like, I see, kind of like Saul Goodman, to be honest. Kind of like Saul Goodman. Lovable dirtbag with a lot of color, a lot of pop. And so before they going into this match, I was interested. You know, he has, the number works, by the way, 423 get fame. I called it. Haven't left a voicemail yet, but I will. So be looking out for a call. I do want to get famous. But anyway, the match happens. It was pretty much a squash. Daga beat him and got a medallion with Cobra Moon off in the rafters, flicking her tongue, biting, clawing, whatever she does. Whatever reason she has going on, I'm looking forward to seeing that. It'll probably happen to Ultima Lucha Dos. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I haven't made predictions yet, but even though he's resisting her, I think they'll be together as opposed to feuding because I think he kind of needs it, to be honest. Like, he's still pretty new to Lucha, but he's talented, but he seems like a guy that would do better with someone interesting around him like Cobra Moon. At least initially starting out, I think that's a great storyline to tackle on to him having the medallion to get some heat around him. But she's crazy, and I like her a lot. So he won. He has a medallion. That's 2 out of the 7, including the Nightclaw. But at the end of the match, Famous Beast super kicked Mascarita, and the crowd went nuts. I loved it. It basically took Famous B from just, okay, this is a goofy little thing I do. I'm really not a great manager, but it was like, okay, no, he has like a dark side also. Like, if you're going to be one of his clients, you're going to be successful, or this isn't going to happen. So he said that he's on to his next thing, his next client. So I'm looking forward to seeing who that is because it kind of started as a comedy character, but I think they could do a whole lot with him, honestly. I think a few weeks back, one of my favorite moments was the girl that's with him. I don't know her name, but he was kind of talking to one of the wrestlers inside the ring, say, hey, you want her too? It's like some hustling flow stuff. Like, yo, it's not my girlfriend, if you know what I mean. Like, we can have an arrangement here. You leave some money on the table. I walk out. She's yours until I get her back. So I love the dirtbag thing, but I think he could also ascend to that, like, Don King status of being this guy who, against all odds, only in America, he's making these crazy deals, you know, getting the Rumble in the Jungle, signing Mike Tyson fights. So who's to say that Famous B can't climb those ranks as a manager to where it's like, oh, okay, Dario, maybe, I don't know. This guy came out of nowhere from Ashley to Classy. Now he has some pull. And his client, much like a Paul Heyman, is going to get where he needs to go with some heat on him thanks to Famous B. So Famous B, he's got the goods, man. I love seeing him talk. He gets the character over, and I'd love to see whoever his next client is. Hopefully they pair him with someone interesting so that we can get a look, he did his 3 or 4 weeks leading up with Masquerita well. Let's give him something to sink his teeth into, and I can't wait to watch. And on to the next match. Once again, these matches were with Aztec medallions on the line, and it was a good match back and forth. Came out with last week, or the last time Killshot and Marty were on TV, Marty took his dog tags. Speaking of which, and this is a high praise because they've had so many good ones, Killshot has had the best vignette of anyone so far, in my opinion. Because when I first saw him in season 1, he just looked like, honestly, if one of my homies started wrestling. 6'2", 6'3" black guy, wearing like some workout spandex and, put a mask on his head. I'm like, okay, who is this guy? But then when I saw him wrestle, just the moveset he had, and like I said with King Cuerno, like the Hunter thing, which they had a dope match together, by the way, because they have similar gimmicks. But just like King Cuerno, he'll stalk you. Killshot, he'll sneak behind, have a guy on the ground, prone for a move, sneak up, aim the gun at him, then boom. I'm like, yo, that's character building. I love the way he owns his character. I'm like, yo, this dude is, he's off. There's something about him. He's a sniper. He's a killer. And then they have the vignette. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where he comes from. You finally get to see him talk. And basically, he was in Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that. Got captured behind enemy lines. He got out. His boys didn't. So the dog tags that he's been wearing, it's like, okay, it means something now because he wears them in remembrance. So for goofy Marty the Moth, who can't keep his hands off Melissa Santos, to take his dog tag, that's like, yo, that's like a cardinal sin, like taking the Undertaker's urn or something like that. So for him to do that, it instantly builds credible feuding between him and Marty. And the crowd's gotten behind Killshot. They've been chanting Killshot like nobody's business. So clearly he's doing something right. So they won the match. And it'll be interesting. I'm sure him and Marty will... Their story's not done yet. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that out. He's probably my dark horse. Killshot is to win the Gift of the Gods title. I hope he does. Whether he cashes in and it works out or not, that remains to be seen. But he's a guy, I think, that has enough mystery to him that you want to learn more about him. And his ring work is wonderful. So he seems like he'd be able to mix it up with all different kinds of guys. Like he can go up against a big dude like Cage or Johnny Mundo, 1 week after another, have dope matches. So I'm excited about that. Marty the Moth, he's a guy, he's really owned his character. The Joey Ryan's lollipop out of his nuts and putting that in his mouth, like, I would like to say that if I was in his position, I'd be that dedicated to the character, but I can't promise that, man. That's another dude's balls on a lollipop, but any man willing to do that has my respect because he was like, I don't know his real name. I should because I saw him on Tough Enough. Great season. But anyone willing to do that's like, no, I'm not whoever I was coming out. I'm Marty the Moth. No, Melissa, you're not going to be comfortable when I'm around. You know why? Because I'm Marty the Moth. And I really, this will tie into the next match. His sister was Mariposa. So I feel like there's still something to be said about their relationship together. They have a lot of weirdness. Even Mariposa, she's not as overtly weird as Marty the Moth, but she's weird. Like a dark kind of weird. That's what I like about it. It's not just quirky, it's a dark weird. Which, side note, I hate comparing to WWE all the time, but kind of like I wish they'd do with Dean Ambrose a little more. Heads up, props for winning the WWE Championship, by the way. But Dean was my breakout star of the Shield when the Shield first popped up, because he was a mouthpiece, but he had this like dark Heath Ledger kind of thing, which I think was too successful. Now they kind of made it goofy. Like when he was beefing with Seth initially, they would do like the hot dog cart squirting with ketchup and mustard, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But I miss the darkness. Anyway, that's WWE. This is Lucha. So Marty the Moth, love him, man. He's I love anything that makes me uncomfortable because I realize it's fake. It's television. It's scripted. It's not real. But that lollipop, man, I was done. And I really feel Melissa looks uncomfortable whenever he comes out. So I'm sure they have a great relationship backstage, but I would legit believe it if she took him to HR or something like that because it comes across on camera believable. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to, man. As far as the guys in this match, I'm excited about Killshot. I'm excited about Marty. Joey Ryan, I'm familiar with him from the Indies. He's still a dirtbag, but now he's a goofy, dirty cop. So that's interesting. So that angle hasn't played itself out either yet. People have been snitching, but no one's gotten bagged yet. So will Dario get caught up in this? I think so. How would that play into the championship picture? How would that play into the temple? He just got back into the temple not long ago. But that's another storyline Ultima Lucha Dos we'll be looking forward to. And that leads us to the third and final match. This one was Sexy Star and Mariposa versus Daya and Ivelisse. And this match was interesting because if you follow it, you know that all four of these women, the pairs, don't like each other. Ivelisse and Mariposa, without question, I would say, and you could, whatever, at least top 5 match of the year. I'd put it in the mix for match of the year candidate. And they raised my expectation level. I've always been a fan of women's wrestling. You know, Trish Stratus, Jackie, Glamazon. I've always respected and enjoyed women's wrestling. Not just for the puppies and all that. Just, you know, 2 artists, physical artists going at it. But Mariposa and Sexy Star increased my capacity to appreciate women's wrestling. Because when I was watching it, I wasn't watching women's wrestling. I was watching wrestling. They had a No Mas, a.k.a. I Quit match a few weeks back. I'm not going to go too much into it because I want to make my own separate video about it. That's how dope the match was. 5 stars, easy. But it was great, man. I'll hold off on talking about that for right now because I really want to give it its just due and have its own separate video. But hats off to them. So to see them have the bitter payoff of that feud and then team together, interesting. And Ivelisse and Taya, they're just now starting to cross paths because they've been matched up a lot in trios matches and similar matches, and they just don't like each other. Their personalities would lend me to believe they wouldn't like each other because Ivelisse, the baddest bitch in the building, she's not gonna bond well with the crazy, goofy, backstabbing girl. And if you call yourself the baddest bitch in the building, then you're gonna butt heads with anyone trying to come at that crown. And Taya has, you know, she has a similar background. She made her name in Mexico, got the Canadian girl, got the respect of Mexican fans. So really, there only can be one baddest bitch in the building, and she comes out with the bandana now. It reminds me of when the Shield, when they a couple of times came out with those ski masks, like the bandanas wrapped around their face, coming out from the rafters, like, yo, it's time for war, dude. And her tights, she got that cape too, so can't be mad at that. Can't teach that either. But the match was great. Sexy Star is on another level. She just knows her way around the ring. Everything she does looks crisp and precise. Her body's ridiculous, like lean to death, muscled up. Everything looks strong. I like her a lot. I like her story too, because if you don't know, it's kind of based off real life experiences, to my knowledge, unless they just made that up. But I believe, you know, she dealt with domestic abuse. And like I said about the luchadors, their masks and their character represents a virtue. So for her, it was like, you know, whether I win or lose, whether I'm where I need to be in life, no matter what's going on, I deserve to fight. I deserve to not be a victim. So I'm Sexy Star, and I'm going to fight for what I believe in and do what I have to do to protect myself and thrive and enjoy my life. So She owns that, man, and I think that the crowd gravitates toward that and gets behind it. So I really want to talk about the No Mas match so much, but I'm gonna hold off because, like I said, it deserves its own video. But Sexy Star and Mariposa, they did win, so they're in the Gift of the Gods 7-person match. So that's another point. Lucha is very mythology and comic book oriented to the point that women have equal ground in believability and equal opportunity. They get hit with chairs and slammed just like anyone else. So as opposed to, you know, making it an intergender match, it's like, oh, you won the medallion, so here, you're in the match too. So that's interesting. Um, so what is it now? Killshot, Sexy Star, Mariposa, Daga, Nightclaw, who we haven't seen yet. Who else? Oh, did I say Marty the Moth and Sinestro de Muerta, something. The guy who got turned into 3 people like Dragon Ball Z. They fused apparently. Um, 7-person match. So that should be dope. The Gift of the Gods belt, I'll say this again, it might be the most creative and best booked belt in wrestling right now because it means so much. Because you get 7 people, converge them, go at it for one belt, and the belt gives you a shot at the big belt, which is the Lucha Underground title. So Ultima Lucha Dos is shaping up to be pretty special. We still haven't heard what Johnny Nitro, what Johnny Mundo's doing. Still don't know what Cage is doing. King Cuerno. Who else? What's the sexual chocolate? Not sexual chocolate. The Mac. Willie Mack. We don't know what he's doing. A lot of talented people. We still don't know what they're doing. So it's good. The matches we have on paper are great, but I'm really looking forward to seeing these build-ups, man. Like, how are Marty the Moth and Killshot going to get along going into the match? They're not, because they're going to be fighting each other, but will that spin off into, them having further problems with each other? Same thing with Sexy Star and Mariposa. They're going to be in the match together at Ultima Lucha Dos. How's that going to play out? We'll see. What's the Trios title match going to be? Who knows? We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it, man. And the main event, not the main event match, but the show closed with the reveal of Rey Mysterio and Prince Puma. They're going to square off, and that's going to be a dope match, I'm sure. But I like the way they framed it. Basically, Prince Puma was like, I'm the present king until someone proves me wrong. And Rey came out and was like, oh, okay, you're the young guy, but you're still a prince. I'm El Rey. I'm the king. You got to earn this. Like the old adage says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And until further notice, I'm the king of Mexico. So you got to go through me if you want that title. And it's going to be a great match. Rey Mysterio seems like he's found himself again as far as just being lean, cut up, working well. I don't know the guy, of course, but he seems like he's motivated and inspired to be working because he's a focal point and not just kind of a merchandise seller. Not that the merchandise checks are bad, I'm sure. You can't go to any crowd without seeing the Rey Mysterio mask, but he's treated as the important star he is, even though he's in the twilight of his career. And so that way you can build a match like Prince Puma versus Rey Mysterio and have it mean something. So, but there wasn't even any need for beef. It's just basically, hey, I'm a babyface and I'm a great competitor. You're a babyface. You're a great competitor. We held a belt together a couple weeks back. Let's see who's the best. Mano y mano. And I can't wait, man. Ultima Lucha Dos, we're getting free pay-per-views on TV. So this is why Lucha's the best right now, and I'm stoked, man. I can't wait. So, great show, and we got another one coming up on Wednesday. Ultima Lucha Dos cometh. I can't wait to see what happens. So, I think I'll go ahead and end it off right there, man. This was the Going Over Pro Wrestling show. Once again, I'm LaRon Graham. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do better about this. I had people hit me up in the comments saying, yo, man, please keep doing this. You did your thing. Thank you. I had people saying, man, that was interesting perspective. Thank you. Got a bunch of new subscribers, got some thumbs ups. I'm happy, and in order to show my appreciation, man, let's make this a conversation. You know, I'm a wrestling fan. You're a wrestling fan just like me. I'm in front of the camera, but let's talk. I want to share my opinions. I like to hear yours too. So I'm going to be a good steward over this thing and just keep making content. I hope you guys keep watching. So that's it, man. Going over Pro Wrestling Show. 1, 2, 3, and I'm out. All right.